What is the best accidental you've seen? I was at my friend's beach house when I was 16. He had a really hot sister that was about 20 at the time. We were watching TV in the living room and she comes in to hang out with us wearing a t-shirt and loose-fitting boy shorts. Looked more like boxers, to be honest. She sat near me and put her legs up in such a way that I had a marvelous view of her lady parts through the baggy leg of the shorts. I tried not to stare, but it was pretty cool when I was 16. Hey guys, we have a new channel where we go over very in-depth stories. Whether it's a Karen on the loose, or a story about a mother's perspective on her husband throwing out their daughter's ashes. These are a treat to get immersed in. The link will be in the description, so make sure to subscribe to the new channel. Story 2. Walking to school on a soggy morning. Saw my art teacher in her minivan changing her clothes. Normally, you can't really see into the side passenger area windows well because they were semi-tinted a deeper color. But when it just stopped raining a bit earlier and the sun came through the clouds and shined down on her car, it lit it and the area up in a general very bright way, and I could see right into the car window. Mind you, my art teacher was 29 at the time, fit and moderately attractive, full-on breasts. I was 14 in 9th grade. Probably one of the best days at school followed thereafter. Story 3. At a party in high school. My best friend got hammered and passed out in the front lawn halfway through. I was hanging out with my other buddy and his girlfriend who was also hammered. When he decided to go check on my best friend, he asked me to make sure his girlfriend didn't do anything stupid while he was gone. She flashed me. I failed him. To be honest, OP, what are you even supposed to do there? By the time you notice, it's too late most of the time. Not that I really have experience with it, I guess, but I'm imagining. Story 4. When I was in 3rd grade, we had a really pretty redheaded student teacher. I can't remember her name, but I remember she was teaching us French for some reason. Apparently she spoke it really well. I'm not sure why that would be part of the 3rd grade experience. One day she came over to help me at my desk with something and leaned on my desk and bent over. For whatever reason, she decided to not wear a bra that day, and right in front of my face, swinging in her dress, were the biggest breasts I had ever seen up to that point. It was glorious. I truly believe that event changed me forever, and set the type of woman I'd been into ever since. It was certainly a formative experience. You guys ever seen Inside Out? This sounds like a core memory if I have ever heard one. Story 5. There's a place where back in the 80s we would all go during the summer called Dripping Springs. It was on a local lake, like a big cove. People would tie their boats together and there was a place you could swim to, and climb up a 30 or 40 foot tall cliff easily. There was a trail and jump off. As people got more alcohol in them, the clothes would start coming off. We were tied to this big 35-foot boat that had a bunch of really attractive women on it. One of them was just absolutely gorgeous. I said to my brother, if only she would take her bikini off, my day would be made. My brother said, I think she heard you. My wife said, I heard that. A few minutes later, someone from the other boat whistles at me. I look over and it's that chick, buck naked, smiling at me. She does a spin and walks away. My wife hit me in the back of the head. OP, look, I gotta criticize you a little bit for this one. In front of the wife? This girl better have been friggin' smoking, dude. It's kinda messed up. But also, she delivered. Story 6. Around 16 at the time. I left my house after my sister and her 2 friends came over, one of which is just absolutely bangin' with an amazing body. That I may have thought about once or twice. Anyway, forgot something in my room, so I ran back in. But I guess nobody heard me come in. I walked down the hallway to my room and past my sister's doorway that was open. I glance over and my brain locks me into place mid-stride. Jaw hits the floor while it burns the image of her butt naked cupping her breasts. They all look over at me and scream. I can't look away. She runs toward me and closes the door. I ran to my room, took a few minutes to savor what I saw, and left. Isn't this what people just think happens at girls' sleepovers? Like, isn't that the meme? But hey, if this really happened, OP, consider yourself lucky. Story 7. As a kid, I always went to summer camp in a different state, and we would often take multi-day canoe trips around the general area. On one of these trips, after a long day of paddling down a river, the trip leader decided to stop on an island and set up camp for the night. As the day progressed, the sunshine turned to rain, and before we knew it, it was a full-on monsoon. As me and a bunch of other boys huddled under a tarp, someone pointed out that 2 people were swimming on the other side of the river. We notice it's 2 guys and a girl and continue to watch. Before we know it, the girl stands up, revealing that she is completely nude. In fact, all three were skinny dipping. Being teenage boys, we began to yell and wave at them, asking if they would like any s'mores, while taking turns looking through the binoculars. We thought they would be embarrassed, however, they weren't even fazed, and one of the dudes began to swim over. I will never forget his face as he got closer and realized we were a bunch of little kids. Needless to say, we gave him a s'more. I guarantee you, the only thing running through that guy's head is how much trouble he is going to be in. He's like, oh no, they're all kids. I'm going to jail. Story 6. Work at a hotel on the beach. Usually, every night before I leave, I take a walk around the building just to make sure everything is okay and people are quiet, etc. All of our rooms have balconies, but luckily the way our building is set up, you can't see into another balcony from another balcony. Earlier that day, I had a newlywed couple checking in. All went normal. Later that night, did my rounds and I saw them on their balcony. He's leaning up against a patio chair turned backwards, pants pulled down, and she's sitting on the chair giving him head. Okay, for all purposes, that's technically an evictable offense, but I just remembered they're a newlywed couple. No one else can see them on their balcony the way our building is configured, so I just turned around, walked inside, and let it be. At least I know their marriage got off to a good start. Hopefully it stayed that way. OP, real homie here. Just letting them do their thing, knowing that no one else would be bothered, and just being like, okay, that's cool, I'll just look the other way. That is a 10 out of 10 move, OP. Hats off to you. Story 9. Maybe not accidental per se, but definitely unexpected. In April of '99, when I was in 6th grade, my entire class had a massive trip to Yellowstone National Park. It was part of a program called Expedition Yellowstone, and it, I believe, was funded in part by grants of some sort. Anyway, my small school in the rural South got to send the entire 6th grade, about 50 students, to Yellowstone every year for like 5 to 6 years, and I got to go. We traveled by charter bus, thankfully, as opposed to school bus for the 36-hour road trip, stopping for fast food, usually McDonald's, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner during the trip. We had stopped in Lincoln, Nebraska at a strip mall, where some of the out parcels were fast food restaurants. We all went into whichever fast food joint we wanted. There were a couple to choose from. With our designated chaperones, we ate and came back out to the bus. Now, this particular strip mall where the McDonald's was located was also home to a bar called Critters. We were sitting on the bus waiting for the rest of the group to come out and reboard so we could leave, when a couple of, well-endowed young women come out of the bar towards another charter bus, which was also sitting in the parking lot. I can only assume that they got the two buses confused, or they thought the bus was full of their friends, or were just drunk. It was still daylight, by the way. I don't know, but these two women decided to raise their shirts and flash a bus full of 6th graders. It wasn't just a brief flash either. No, this was a lift your shirt and shake them things kind of flash. You know, something that you would normally see in a Girls Gone Wild video. Chaos ensues on our bus. Teachers, chaperones, counselors, parents, and probably even the bus driver as well were all running and diving into the aisles of the bus, trying to frantically and unsuccessfully cover the eyes of all these innocent 12-year-olds. But we were having none of it. It was the highlight of the trip, and we were barely halfway there on a 2-week-long expedition. This includes our bus getting trapped in a whiteout blizzard in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming on the way back, and then limping to the closest town and sleeping on the floor in the high school gymnasium. Next came the jokes, which you would expect from a bunch of pre-adolescent kids. The Grand Tetons, the Twin Peaks, etc. It was awesome. I dare say it was a seminal moment for many of us. Our high school graduating class recently had our 10-year reunion a couple of years ago, and this story was retold more than once. While I can't condone the actions of these women as it is a crime, I do have to say, nice. Story 10. I was on a Mediterranean cruise in summer, so the top deck was filled with people sunbathing. This one lady with rather large bosoms was sunbathing with her family, and taking off her bikini straps as some of them do to avoid tan lines, I guess. Anyway, she accidentally dropped it, and I got a full-on view of one of her breasts. She looked around to see if anyone noticed, caught my eye, and gave me a cheeky grin before I looked away, blushing. Story 11. When I was about 6, I was at the ocean with parents. My dad was playing with me in the breaking waves on the beach. I saw a rough wave wash over this young lady a few feet from us, and it totally swept off her bikini bottom. I couldn't believe it. And no one, including her, seemed to be aware for several long seconds. It was a massive late 70s bush. I saw it before my dad and pointed and yelled, "Look at the hair!" My dad was up to speed quickly and swept me up facing the other way, as a guy apparently with the woman found her bikini before it was lost forever. She was sitting down in the water when he brought them over and said, "You lose something?" I learned a lot that day. Story 12. When I was living in New Zealand, one night my roommate brought home some guy from the bar and they banged on the couch. It just so happened that the couch was on the opposite side of the wall from my bed, so I heard it all, but that's besides the point. The next morning I woke up to a text from a different roommate that there was a naked guy on the couch. I casually went to the bathroom to sneak a peek, and there he was, in all his glory, passed out on the couch. The roommate who brought him home was nowhere to be found. We later found her curled up on the bathroom floor, also naked. And now they're married. The end. I love a happy ending. I have a feeling you won't see an animated Disney movie about this one anytime soon, though. Story 13. I used to work in an electronics store. We regularly had promo staff and reps in on the weekends to sell their stuff in store. This particular weekend, we had 3 models in promoting some camera or other. Late afternoon, I go into the customer collections room where reserved stock is kept to look for an item. As I'm clearly in there looking for something, these 3 girls burst in and start stripping off their branded dresses to change and go home. In shock, I say, do you want me to go out? And they're like, nah, it's okay. Then some checkout girl comes in and laughs, gasps, and drags me out. Gutted. Story 14. During college, I was drunk at a party that ended up moving to a local bar. One of the hot girls in the class ahead of mine came up to me and this other dude. The other dude, I guess, had a bet with her or something and took her walking up as the perfect time to remind her. He said, remember, you still need to flash me for something. She gives him an annoyed look and then just flashes the both of us for a good 5 to 10 seconds. Very nice. Would look again. Story 15. When I was a junior in high school, I had a math teacher that was probably in her late 20s or early 30s. One day near the end of the first semester, she was wearing a dress of sorts. It was in Florida, so it wasn't getting cold at all, and she was trying to reach something off the top shelf near her desk, when the 2 straps holding up her dress just snapped, and the entire dress fell to her feet. Sure, she was still wearing underwear, but the dress didn't hide bra straps, and, well, that was nice. I didn't have her the second semester, but from what I heard, she got in trouble for wearing inappropriate attire for a teacher, and had been suspended for the first month of the semester. This just sounds unfortunate. I can't believe they suspended her for that. That kinda sucks. I don't know the dress, so maybe it was inappropriate, but a month suspension? Come on. Being prudish about clothing is something I just don't really understand, unless it was truly, inappropriate for a classroom, you know? Story 16. My sister and her boyfriend were banging. After about an hour, I hear her door close, and I think, oh, thank God he left, I can take a crap now. I walk into the bathroom, drop my pants in the dark, and start to squat. When the light turns on and her boyfriend walks out, fully naked, full staff, and says, ready for more? I just stare in shock, and he now realizes I'm not my sister. He just coughs and walks away. I no longer feel safe to crap in my own bathroom. Pull up my pants and just go to bed. Story 17. This was also one of my top, this just kicked in moments. I was hiking Mount Lafayette and knew that I was nearing the top. It's a decent hike, so I was pretty beat and ready for a break. On the last climb, I could see a large boulder up ahead that was sitting at the summit. I pushed forward a bit and looked up again toward the boulder. At the base of it was a gorgeous, mostly naked girl squatting down. I thought to myself, well, this is a hell of a reward for the hike. She then proceeded to stand, zip up a full-body Scooby-Doo costume, and walked over to her friends. If you're confused about what OP meant by this just kicked in moments, yeah, so am I. Anyway, next story. Story 18. Alright, Reddit, it's about to get serious. So a few years back, I had a shared Dropbox with a friend my wife and I were very close with. She's my son's godmother. Basically, I would procure books, movies, and whatever she wanted and throw it into Dropbox, and she would download it on her side. Or she would upload photos she took of my son and I would download it from my side. It worked well because we were in different states. So I have this shortcut linked in the desktop of my shared laptop. No big deal, nothing illicit. So one day I'm at work and I get this call. It's my wife. Important note, she was over at my house when this happened. So, wanna tell me what's going on between you and her? I saw the nudes she sends you. Huh? It's on the Dropbox account you guys share. You know what? Screw you. I'm going to ask her. Huh? Sidebar, she's the definition of PAWG, so yes. Now, I haven't received nudes. I was not aware of nudes. But good freaking God, now that I know they're there, I'm gonna look at some nudes. So I grab my phone and I'm trying to download the app, log on, and good freaking God, I'm going to see some T&A. So I log on and it's giving me a loading screen. I'm watching this freaking circle move. It's loading something. Then, boom, I'm seeing a page of thumbnails. Oh my God, there's like 12 pictures on the first page. Full frontal, side, back, that is glorious. Then my phone rings. It's the wife. Oh, holy crap. God damn. Okay, why? I pick up. Okay, we figured it out. She didn't realize that she's been syncing the Dropbox with her iPhone photos. She just deleted it. Oh, okay, no big deal. Yeah, I was super confused on what was happening. I was busy with customers and I couldn't even check. It wasn't that impressive. You didn't miss anything, but it's gone now. Okay, good. Gotta get to work. I hung up the phone. Dropbox reloaded. Nothing. It was blank. So she was taking daily photos of herself to track her new exercise and diet plan. I saw everything and it was taken away. Only thumbnails. So, what is this fixation with guys wanting to see other women naked when they have a wife? Now, I'm not saying don't look at adult content or whatever, like, sure, whatever. When you gotta do it, you gotta do it. You have business to do. I get it. But, like, just out of interest, casually, what's going on here? This seems kind of weird. Maybe I'm just too young to get it, but yeah, seems strange to me. If I were married, I would have very little interest in those photos. Story 19. My wife used to do triathlons, the sprint and Olympic lengths, not Ironmans. She was doing a women's only sprint triathlon, and I'm hanging out near her bike waiting for her to return from the swim. First leg of the race. The most experienced athletes bike and run in their one-piece swimsuit. Inexperienced people take the time to change their clothes. There was a young woman in her late 20s changing near my wife. Obviously new to this stuff, she had planned a different set of clothes for each activity. She had some friends holding up towels to shield her while she changed from her swimsuit to her cycling gear. She got the suit off and struggled to get her bike shorts on over her wet legs while crouching behind the towels. She then said, "Oh, screw it," stood up bare-chested and proceeded to struggle with her athletic bra. She had a nice tan all over. I'll give her that much. Story 20. The first time I ever saw a girl's downstairs in person was at a concert when I was maybe 12 years old. I was going to the bathroom and, of course, there was a huge lineup for the women's room, so they started coming into the men's room. Inevitably, all of the stalls filled up, and it was at that point I walked into the bathroom. There she was, a goddess among drunkards. She was a mid-20s brunette, and as far as I can remember, she was perfect in every way. She went for a stall and then realized they were full. Without any hesitation, she beelined for an open urinal. I was horribly confused, with my head half cocked to the side, thinking, what is this lady doing? As soon as she dropped trow, I realized what was going on, and I don't think my eyes could have opened any wider. This was it. My first live kitty. She peeled down those tight jeans and went for it. I was completely fixated and couldn't look away. Landing strip jackpot. I didn't know what that was at the time, but I had seen it before in old dirty magazines, so I thought she must do adult content. Holy cow, I'm looking at a real-life adult content star. Of course, I realized later she probably wasn't an adult star, but I like to believe she was. Anyway, I was smiling ear to ear for the rest of the night, and that image has stuck with me nearly 20 years later. Now that I think about it, that first experience probably helps explain some of my messier kinks. OP, it was free to leave that last part out, but now I know a little more about you than I would have liked to, so thank you for that. I'm moving on. Story 21. So a couple of years ago, I was doing a Christmas concert with my class. We were a music school, so we always do 1 or 2 of them each year. We were upstairs maybe 15 minutes before the show was going to start, and we're switching into our concert clothes, when someone shrieked. For context, this concert took place in a church, and on the other side of the road were some apartments. Everyone rushes to the windows and look outside, where we are greeted with the sight of a totally naked guy talking to a woman cleaning the floor. There was another woman there too, and unlike the guy, both of the women were fully clothed. This guy just stood there with his dong flopping around, seemingly having a casual conversation with a woman cleaning the floors and another woman just standing around. Needless to say, the adults supervising us closed the blinds very fast. But I know someone left the room because they were laughing so hard. I wonder what they were up to. So at first I totally thought the I wonder what they were up to was about the someone who left the room, and I was super confused. Nope, it's about the naked man with the 2 clothed females. Fair enough. Did I just say females? Women. The 2 clothed women. Definitely an intriguing scene for sure. Leaves a lot to the imagination, ironically. Anyway, thank you so much everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed this wild ride of stories with me, and I also hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next one.